Alright guys, so I have yet again another dual sector gear to make a video on. Now this one is not a Crytek. I've built like, well, since it's the new year, last year, 2018, I built 4 dual sector gear Cryteks. One was a PDW and the rest were the CRBs. I don't think I did an SPR. So that was including the DSG that I have. So 3 customers, 1 of mine. And they were all Crytek bodies. So, Cryteks are just really popular to DSG, I guess. And this one is a VFC. This is a VFC VR16, which is cool, something a little bit different. And these guns are awesome. So let's just start from the rear. There is a PTS stock on here. Now, he might run into issues with battery storage because with the dual sector gear, you want to use a bigger battery. So I'm probably going to recommend to him to get a crane stock. You can find a tan one to go with his two-tone look, but I'd probably recommend a tan crane stock. I guess you can use this and just use a longer stick, but you might only be able to put the stock in till here with one of the 1300 25 to 50 Cs. The rate of fire is going to be a little bit lower, but I'll get into that a little bit later when I talk about the specs of the gun. Metal buffer tube, ambi sling mount, which I can tell has been used, so he obviously uses that because there's some chipping on there. QRS VFC pistol grip comes with the gun, I believe. It's so comfortable on here, and I'm not a huge fan of these with the back strap here, but this is extremely comfortable, something a little bit different. VFC VR16 body, so it's the newer one, so it's got the QRS little trigger finger rest there. Tan lower, black upper, VFC, super solid. Ambidextrous selector switch, which is also a pretty solid feature. It's not super loose or anything. These are one of the better ambi selector switches. Mag catch, functional bolt lock, and dust cover. On the top here we have first there's a KAC flip up sights right there. And then there is a EOTech replica, which actually has some markings. I had one of these back in the day. It's a flip to side magnifier, so it magnifies, I think it's a 4 magnification, which is actually pretty cool because I was shooting it out here yesterday with this and I can actually see the BBs. Let's see if let's turn on the, yeah, it's definitely not on, it's way over here, so he'd have to adjust it if he wants to use this, but a lot of people just use this just to pick out people and see people rather than actually shooting them, but whatever floats your boat. And then he has a replica EOTech. This is the XPS, I think, is the replica. It's got a quick detach mount on it. It is on, so it does have battery to it, but I will say it's a little dim, so probably battery needs swapped. And then it's over to the side here, so it needs brought over, which would fix the issue with viewing it through here if it's in the middle. And then on the front here, there's a Danu Defense rail. It says M4A1 RS2. I'm not an expert with these. A lot of the Milsim players are like, oh, this is a mod O, it's a mod 1, mod 2, it's a Mark 18, Mark 12, blah, blah, blah. I don't know, and I don't care. This is a Mark 18, or a Danu Defense rail. That's really all I care personally. And it's like 14 inches, so it's one of the longer ones, so I don't believe that this is a Mark 18 style, especially because it's got the 2 halves here, the way it screws in. The Mark 18 one is just one solid piece, if I'm not mistaken, so this might be like a mod 1 or whatever they call it. I honestly don't care. It's a cool rail system, that's all I care about. It's in great shape too, so it's obviously pretty new. He's got a Magpul RVG on the bottom in tan, and some sort of PEC box on the top. I don't know what brand, maybe GMP. From what I've heard, those are popular. And it's got a flashlight on it, which is fairly bright. This is decent for like room-to-room clearing. But if you're shining a light 100 feet down inside of a building, it's not going to help you out much because it's very dim. But this is good for like room-to-room, 50 feet and under engagements, I would say. And then the cap flips on there. It's got lasers, red, or I think it was green. You can turn them both on at the same time, and these are infrared, I believe, over here. Don't know if they work or not. But that's pretty cool. He has a Crytek orange flash hider on here, but in the box was a black birdcage. So I believe that's what he's going to use when he actually plays. This is just for shipping purposes. And the barrel is actually marked 5.56 NATO 1-in-7 twist. It's a VFC barrel. Or no? Might be a Daniel Defense, honestly. Because it does say DDF. DD and then F. MP. 5.56 NATO 1-in-7. So this might be a Daniel Defense barrel, honestly. Because I don't think the VFCs say DD. The VFCs just have the marking, the 5.56 marking. Anyways, on to the internals. It has VFC's new gearbox, which is decent. There's a few things that they did that I don't like. One, they replaced the bearings. I don't know why they replaced the bearings. The bearings in this aren't bad. They're pretty good quality, like, per se, Crytacs. Crytacs aren't bad. But if you're going over 30 rounds a second, I highly recommend replacing them. So that means anybody that DSGs these needs to swap those. They don't last. Whereas the old VFC gearboxes would come with steel meteorite bushings, which are, like, indestructible. So it's kind of a bummer that they switched to those, honestly. I really wish they would not have. But bearings are more smooth, so they do work pretty well, but please, if you guys go over 30 rounds a second, you're going to have issues with them. So with that being said, other than that, it's just a standard VFC gearbox, pretty much. Internals, it has a ASG 40K boost motor. It has a Spectre BTC MOSFET. This is the Bluetooth one. I had some Bluetooth ones for sale, or non-Bluetooth, and the non-Bluetooth ones were still in stock when he was going to send this to me. Not sure if they're still in stock now or not, but he wanted a Bluetooth one, so he purchased one used. I think he spent like $40 more than the non-Bluetooth, or $45, and I was just like, you could just get the non-Bluetooth for $45 cheaper. It's brand new, it's guaranteed to work, it's just non-Bluetooth. But he wanted the Bluetooth one, so he spent the extra money, just fine by me. So it actually makes my life easier because I adjusted the settings with my phone, with the app. So it does make it easier for me. I was just thinking it's cheaper for him, but he was willing to spend the money. It's got the lightning trigger, which I shortened the trigger pull. What else? It's got the VFC 16-to-1 spur and the VFC bevel gear. They are in great shape. I've never personally used a VFC spur gear in one of my DSG builds, but I use SHS ones all the time, and I've used a GMP one once, and that one's still kicking. And I've used Crytac ones as well, because I do a lot of Crytac DSGs. So I'm pretty confident that this one's going to hold up fine. VFC gears are really strong, and it's shimmed well. And then it has the Siege Tech DSG, the sector gear. It is the 8-tooth. He thought it was a 9-tooth because we were going to get 400 FPS out of this with the spring that's in here, but now we're not getting quite that. But that was just a mistake on him, but it's not a big deal because he said as long as it's like over 370, he's happy. Other parts, it's got an SHS metal rack piston, brand new. It's got a Garter SP 150 spring. It's got a quick change spring system, which VFC did change, which is a huge plus. Love quick change spring systems. Stock VFC full cylinder, nozzle, tappet plate. I did notice the previous owner put a Crytac piston head, or cylinder head in here, so I just reused that. The seal was good. And then it has the stock VFC aluminum piston head, again with the SHS metal rack piston. I have the VFC meteorite bushings on the spur and the bevel gear to keep those from breaking, but I left the bearings on the sector gear because that's arguably takes the less stress. Some people are like, oh, it's the sector gear, oh, it's the bevel gear. I've had bearings break on bevel gears before. I don't know that I've ever had them break on the sector, so I just ditched the bearings on the spur and the bevel and just kept them on the sector gear, and the gun runs fine and sounds fantastic. I don't think I'm missing anything in this gun. If I'm missing anything, it's just a few small things. Hop-up wise, I believe it's a stock hop-up unit, the rotary style, and the stock barrel, I believe. The bucking looks like it's been changed, and I don't remember what he said it was changed to, but it does shoot pretty good. We'll shoot it here and get it through the chrono. But the gun shoots good overall. Again, the biggest con is battery storage with this stock, because you're just going to have to take it off like that with a flathead or something. And this is what I'd recommend to use. A 2000 milliamp 15 to 25C. This is perfect It's got 2,000 milliamp. You get 2 of these, and it'll last all day. But like I said, you could get one of the stick 1300 25 to 50s. I'd still get 2 of those. If you really want to keep that stock, you really want to. But you have to be careful when you put the stock in and out, because with that 1300, it sticks out to like right here. So you're minimized to the length of the stock, and you need to be careful, otherwise you will destroy your battery or these connections. So with it hooked up, safety, semi, full auto. Alright, let's go ahead and get it chronoed. I apologize, this is not the easiest way to do this. 377, 377, 373, 376, 374, 377, 377, 376, 377, 377, very consistent, 376, 371, 371, 374. So we're seeing about 375 feet per second, which is the lower end of what we wanted for outdoor gun, because he doesn't play indoor from what he described. 374 is 1.3 joules with a 0.2. I recommend him to use 2.5s, so we're going to go ahead and actually put 2.5s in here and give that a chrono. Alright, so we got it set for 2.5s now. 326, 323, 328, 327, 324. It is overhopped, of course, with 2s. Trigger response is there, of course. And again, we're shooting about 370, a little bit above. So it's actually pretty hard, shooting pretty hard. You can hear it. It hits pretty decently. Trigger response is obviously second to none. You can just spam your trigger all day long and get a bunch of rounds down range, which is the goal, really, of having a BTC. Why would you spend the money on it without actually having any performance over a stock gun? Try some full auto. And obviously it shoots really fast. So let's just go ahead and shoot it with 2.5s. It's much, much more consistent with 2.5s, like worlds difference. I mean, you're hitting 200 feet with this gun easy with 2.5s. There is some overhop. But since I haven't overhopped, the BBs haven't even really started to drop. But that's it. That's about a half charge battery now. Trigger response is still kicking. And then about 37 rounds a second. So pretty good overall. Again, I just am going to ask him what battery he wants to use. The two choices: use these and get a crane stock, or use the 1300 sticks and keep that Magpul stock. He'll probably go with the Magpul stock, so I'll link him to the stick batteries for this gun that'll keep it chugging. Other than that, range is really good. Again, we're shooting about 200 feet, full auto and semi-auto, high caps. Anyways, I've already got about 2 hours of work on this gun that I had to do, and 2 hours of work paid off. This thing is running fantastically. So, if you have any questions or anything, let me know. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video.